When the American Civil War ended in 1865, the military conflict was over, but the United States government still faced a difficult problem. The former Confederate states had to be brought back into the Union, their governments reorganized, and federal authority restored. Millions of formerly enslaved people had also gained their freedom, creating new questions about citizenship, labor, and political rights. To manage this uncertain situation, the federal government relied heavily on the presence of the United States Army across the South. Union military presence in the South had actually begun during the war. As Union forces captured Confederate territory, they established military control over important cities, ports, railroads, and strategic areas. By the end of the war, federal troops were already stationed throughout large parts of the former Confederacy. After Confederate armies surrendered, these soldiers remained because the federal government needed to maintain order and supervise the transition from wartime rebellion to restored civilian government. The situation in 1865 was complicated because the Confederate governments had collapsed, but there was no immediate replacement for them. President Andrew Johnson, who became president after the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, attempted to restore the southern states relatively quickly. His administration allowed provisional governments to be established and encouraged former Confederate states to accept certain conditions before being readmitted to the Union. Union soldiers therefore found themselves performing responsibilities that went beyond traditional military duties. They helped maintain public order, protected government property, guarded important transportation routes, and sometimes became involved in disputes between white Southerners and newly freed African Americans. One of the most important changes after the war was the creation of the Freedmen's Bureau. Established by Congress in 1865, the Bureau worked with the military to assist formerly enslaved people and other displaced Southerners. Its responsibilities included providing food and medical assistance, helping establish schools, supervising labor contracts, and attempting to protect the legal rights of freed people. The presence of federal troops became particularly important because emancipation did not automatically end racial violence or discrimination. In many Southern communities, white authorities attempted to maintain control over African Americans through restrictive laws and local practices. Violence against freed people also increased in some areas. Federal officials and soldiers sometimes intervened when local authorities were unwilling or unable to protect black residents. At the same time, the presence of Union troops was controversial among many white Southerners. After 4 years of war, federal soldiers represented the authority of the government that had defeated the Confederacy. Their continued presence could therefore be viewed as military occupation by former Confederates. This created resentment and contributed to political resistance against Reconstruction policies. The situation became more difficult as relations between President Johnson and the Republican-controlled Congress deteriorated. Congressional Republicans increasingly believed that Johnson's approach was allowing former Confederate leaders and white Southern governments to regain too much political power too quickly. They were also concerned about the treatment of freed people and the passage of black codes, which restricted African Americans' rights and economic opportunities. In response, Congress took greater control over Reconstruction. The most important change came with the Reconstruction Acts of 1867. These laws divided most of the former Confederate South into 5 military districts. Each district was placed under the authority of a Union general, and the military was given an important role in supervising the political reorganization of the states. This did not mean that soldiers personally governed every aspect of Southern life. Civilian institutions continued to exist, and local governments remained involved in many areas of administration. However, military commanders had significant authority to intervene when they believed that public order or the rights of citizens were threatened. The 14th Amendment, ratified in 1868, was particularly important. It established national citizenship for people born or naturalized in the United States and required states to provide equal protection under the law. Federal military authority helped enforce the broader Reconstruction framework in a region where local resistance remained significant. For African Americans, the presence of federal troops could provide a degree of protection that local governments often did not. Black communities established schools, churches, businesses, and political organizations during this period. African American men also began participating in elections and holding public office. Federal soldiers and officials sometimes protected these political activities from intimidation and violence. But the military could not solve every problem. The South was geographically enormous, and the number of federal troops available was limited. Soldiers could not be present in every town or rural community. Groups such as the Ku Klux Klan and other organizations used violence and intimidation to undermine Reconstruction governments and suppress black political participation. The federal government responded with the Enforcement Acts of the early 1870s, which gave Washington greater authority to combat political violence. Federal troops and officials were used in some areas to suppress organized resistance. However, support for military reconstruction gradually weakened in the North. Political priorities changed, economic problems demanded attention, and many Northern voters became increasingly tired of the conflict surrounding the South. The disputed presidential election of 1876 further weakened the political foundation of Reconstruction. By 1877, federal troops were withdrawn from the remaining Southern state governments that had depended on their support. This effectively ended the period of direct federal military involvement in Southern Reconstruction politics. The consequences were significant. Once federal protection declined, Southern white Democrats, often called Redeemers, regained political control across much of the region. Laws restricting black political participation expanded, segregation became more established, and violence was used to suppress opposition. The end of military occupation did not mean the end of Reconstruction. Instead, it marked the beginning of an increasingly political struggle over what Reconstruction would ultimately accomplish.